Welcome to the team call. It is Thursday, February 2nd, and tonight we are going to be talking about facing your fears. Um, I know facing your fears and fears in this business are really, they come down to something that has happened, whether it's in your past or whether it's in, something that happened to you as a child. Facing your fears is one of the biggest things that we have to do in this business. So before I get started, and as I'm going to tell a story, I would love for you to take a plain sheet of paper and write down whether it's one word, a sentence, a paragraph. It can be pages. It might not get finished tonight, but I would love for you to write down what you're afraid of. Something that happened in your past that is holding you back, or something that you're just afraid of happening with Beachbody or could happen. And if you're just jumping on, we're talking about, I'm having you write down your fears. So on a plain sheet of paper, just write down what your fears are. They can be fears in this business. They can be fears of something that happened to you that is holding you back, something as a child that happened, whatever it may be. The fear that you have that is related to something that has happened or a scenario or a story. So as you're doing that, I'm just going to give you a little background on my fears. So when I started Beachbody, I was afraid of success. And the reason why I was afraid of success was because as a child, I always wanted to fit in. I always did what I needed to do to fit in. I wanted to be with the popular kids. I wanted to hang out with the cool kids, as I thought. So I always wanted to fit in. So I was always a follower. I always needed to, whether it was to do something bad or whatever, I just wanted to be a part of. And that led to, in high school, not even high school. I started drinking when I was in 8th grade. My brother took me to parties with him. He was in high school, and I would get blackout drunk. And it was all about because I wanted to fit in. So all through high school, I always got in with the wrong crowds, and my parents switched schools. This is like a story like a lot of people don't even know. But my parents switched schools. We moved, and they weren't letting me stay at my current high school. So I had to switch. And again, I did what it took to fit in. Switching in the middle of your high school years, I transferred my junior year. It was really hard to meet girlfriends because they all grew up together. They all, were friends before high school. So it was hard for me to find girls that were accepting of another girl coming in. And so I had a lot more guy friends than girlfriends, and girls had resentments against me because of that. And so I always did, I always tried to fit in, and I always tried to hang out with new people. And I was always afraid of what people would think because I was friends with just guys. And then going into college, same thing. I just always, I cared more about what people thought of me than what they didn't. It was like I didn't care what they thought, but I did in the same sense. I put on that, tough girl attitude, that front, that I didn't care what anyone thought. I didn't care if the girls didn't like me because I had the guy friends, and I was cooler with the guys and the girls. And, I didn't care, but deep down I did care. And I had to watch almost everything that I did. Because of that. I was so afraid that I was going to step on people's toes. So, growing up, turning from trying to fit in to turning into what people thought of me, really held me back when it came to Beachbody. Because, I mean, even before I became a coach, I was afraid to share that I was doing P90X because I didn't want people to know what I was doing. I didn't want people to know that I had a problem with my, body, that I was doing something healthy to change my body. So I had a hard time opening up, per se, because I was so afraid that people were going to shut me out, or people were going to be like, oh my gosh, she has a problem, or wonder what was wrong. But when I got 2 weeks into Beachbody and I felt how amazing I felt, it came down to I couldn't care about what people thought. If I kept caring about what people thought, there were so many people missing out on this opportunity. So when I actually started coaching, I had to break down that barrier and not worry about what anyone else thought. So that brings me to your fears. And what's holding you back. Like I said, I was afraid of what people thought. So when I messaged people, I kind of closed my eyes when I did it. I copied and pasted. I wrote books when I was inviting, and I would walk away. I wouldn't even open it after, if people would respond, I wouldn't even open it right away. I had to mentally prepare myself for what they would say or how they would react to that message. And once I started getting a few yeses, let me know more, I kind of got that confidence, oh, wow, maybe what I'm doing is life-changing. Maybe this is something that, people really need. Why am I so afraid to share it? So if you're in the inviting training, you have seen kind of this as an, activity, finding out your fears and pairing it up with personal development. But what I want you to do is take those fears that you wrote down and rip them up or burn them, because that's the only way you're going to push through to succeed. That's the only way that you are going to be able to put that behind you. When you think about your fears, do you know why you struggle with them? Ask yourself, why is this holding me back? Was it something in your life? Can you pinpoint one specific area or one specific instance that happened that gives you that fear? I mean, you can even pinpoint it down to when, where, and how you felt when that happened. You have to remember that no matter what happened in your past, your future isn't dictated by it. You need to honestly dig deep. If you can't think of why you're afraid of something, and you can't pinpoint, right now, me talking about this, you bringing back that feeling of that emptiness, that bottomless pit, that gut-wrenching feeling inside of you, then that's not a fear. That's just you needing to get over something. And so you're going to get rid of it right now. When you rip up those papers, you burn that sheet of paper, I'm not expecting that fear to honestly be away from you forever. Yes, it's going to be a thought in your mind. It's going to be something that, if that instance is brought up, that may happen. I cannot tell you if it's going to be completely erased from your mind, because it's probably not. But for me, I had to overcome the fear of caring what people thought for the simple fact because I wanted to be a part of and I wanted everyone to like me. That has nothing to do with helping change people's lives. They're either going to do it or they're not. So I want to ask you, how can you move forward from this? How can you overcome it? Do you know if you'll ever be able to overcome it? When you think of fear, and if you're willing to, type in the chat box something that you're afraid of, or one of your fears, whether it's with this business or, it has to be kind of with this business of what's holding you back from moving forward in this business. But just give me a word if you want, if you feel comfortable doing that. But have you wholeheartedly tried to get rid of this fear? Have you done anything leading up to this point to get rid of that fear? If your answer is no, then I want you to just think about this. You have two choices with fear. You can fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. Again, you have two choices with fear. Fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. Take your fears and turn them into your story. Take your fears and make them your message. There are probably millions of people out there that have the same fear, that had a similar situation happen to them that caused them to feel the way that you do right now. You have to, in your mind, know that everything that happens in your life was meant to happen, or there was a reason for it. I'm not going to get, into the Bible or anything religious, but you have to think that everything was meant for a reason, because your story, your fears were meant to be turned into something wonderful, to share with people, to help them on their journey. So even if you don't want to tell your story and your exact reason on why you feel the way you do, or your exact rejection, or your exact, fear, you don't have to say that. But take that, wrap your head around it, and be able to share it to help others overcome this. To think, like, these are just a few things that I've heard over the past, 6 years. In fear of what people think, that was mine. Fear of rejection. I know some of these are from the inviting training that people posted. Fear of success, fear of failing, fear of hurting somebody, fear of actually accomplishing something good, the fear of proving someone wrong or proving someone right. My fear in the beginning was wrapped around the fear of success, because I never really succeeded in anything. I always got bad grades. I was in, the extra help room, the reading van and the math van, and I was tutored until 7th grade. I never got good grades. Leading to high school, I was afraid that I wasn't going to get into a college because my grades were so bad. I didn't care. I worried more about the social aspect than actual schoolwork. So when I went to college, it was the same thing. You know, I was worried more about social, and I, didn't do good. I mean, I did okay, but when I went to transfer schools, some of my credits weren't transferable because I didn't do good in those classes. And it was like, okay, I wasted basically a whole year, a semester of credits because my grades sucked. They were bad. So I was afraid to succeed because I never succeeded in anything. I was afraid that, I would finally be able to be proud of myself for accomplishing something. That's sad, but that's true. I was afraid to succeed because I was afraid of having a good accomplishment, something to be proud of. So fear can come in all types of forms. Fear can come in all different, scenarios. If you're afraid to be better than you were yesterday, and you're afraid to share this opportunity with others, then it's not for you. You have to want to be better than you were yesterday. And you also have to be willing to share this opportunity. You need to be able to share your struggles, your fears, and make them into something to help others, to turn it around, make something positive out of this. If you're afraid of rejection and afraid people may look at you differently, you're too worried about them and what they think, and you'll never succeed. If we let our feelings, our thoughts be wrapped up in because of other people, they're getting your attention, not yourself. You want to make yourself better because you're worth it. You're worth succeeding. You're worth being a positive influence to other people. You can't worry about what they think because they probably need you to inspire them. They probably need to hear your encouraging words. They're probably worried about what you think. So, like I said, your past is your past, and your future is your future. You can let your past self or actions dictate who you are, or you can have them show you what your future self should be. I can sit here and say it's easy. I can sit here and say that, yeah, you may overcome it, you may not, but I can't. Because I don't know. I don't know what every single one of your fears are. I don't know what's holding you back. But what I do know is if you try, you'll succeed. Because no matter what happened or what you fear, you're better than that. And your story matters. You have people to inspire and lives to change. Now, are your fears worth someone dying from obesity or being hospitalized because of diabetes? Or are your fears worth turning into a message and inspiring other people? You have the choice. Like I said, you can fear everything and run, or you can face it and rise. So I want you to pick a personal development book based on your fears, and I want you to start reading it. I will post, and I'm not sure if I have them in Team Resurrection, but I'll share them again. The personal development recommendations that I have, I'll share them so that you can pick something. But if you have any questions based on fear before I give you your call to action, post them in the chat, and I'm going to read what some of you had said here. Yep, Katie, I felt the same way. I always felt like I had to be involved because I was the odd one out. Um, Even if it was, I mean, I can think about it, there were always three, me and two other girls. It was me and my best friend. We lived across the street from one another. And then she had a best friend. And when the three of us got together, I was always left out. And so I always did whatever I needed to be the center of attention, to be the center of that, that clique. And it just, from that point on, I always felt like I had to do whatever it took to be a part of. Like I said, I mean, I started drinking in 8th grade. It's sad just to be a part of, to be with the cool kids and to hang out with, the older kids, and, always thinking like that was the best way to get the attention that I wanted. So, Clarissa, like I said, I don't know if you'll ever overcome that. I can't, I can't say that you will. Um, and yeah, like you said, it's not easy. Feeling rejected because of somebody you would think loves you, then yeah, how could you not think that somebody else is going to reject you? But here's what I'm going to say. You have a purpose in this world. You have the possibility to make an impact on others because of who you are, because of your positivity, because your determination to not make others feel rejected. That is inspiring. That needs to be shared. The moment you feel and can share that rejection is something that is hard on you, something that you have a wall up because of rejection, you don't have to say why, is going to be that moment that that wall starts breaking down. Like I said, it's not going to be easy and it's going to take time to overcome. But the more that you do what you love doing and this purpose that you're here on this earth for, your passion is going to shine through and you have lives to change. You have such a huge heart and so many people want to be a part of that. So many people out there want to feel a part of. And because you have that story to be able to relate to people that have been rejected from a parent, they're going to need that support. And that's what it's all about. So if you feel that you could ever share that, I'm not saying, everything that happened, but share that you felt rejected from a loved one, and that is a fear of yours, is ever being rejected, you're going to be able to take that message and inspire so many others to reach out for the support. And then you can make that a community. I mean, that is your message. You have the ability to help others and support others that have felt rejected from somebody very close to them. Rejection is probably one of the hardest. And I tell people all the time, that fear of being rejected is a deep one. But before you go to send an invite to anybody or to post, take time to read your personal development that is going to kind of overcome that fear and get into the positive mindset that these people need me. They're not going to reject me. They're going to love on me. They're going to support me. They're going to give me what I need, and I'm going to give them what they need. That is the mentality you need to have when you go into, inviting and sharing and wanting people to be a part of with you, so that you can support them and you can let them know that you're here, that you you can feel what they feel. And that's what it's about. That's what, when I talk about it all the time, people need to connect to you. People need to be able to, be able to find something that they can really feel from you. And if it needs to be something like that hurt, that pain, then so be it. Let it be. Let it be your message to inspire others, to encourage others to reach out, to have people, ask for help, because that's what it's all about. They always say, turn your mess into your message. If that has to be your mess, then let it be. Because that's powerful to find people that need you for something like that. It's the truth. I 100% believe it. So your call to action is to take a piece of paper and fold it in half. On the left-hand side, I want you to write who you want to be. What are some attributes and some titles of the person you want to be, your future self? And then on the right-hand side, I want you to write down what's holding you back from being that person. And I would love for you to share it in the team page underneath this recording when I post this recording. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, feel free to send them to me, private message them to me. I would love to be able to break down some of these barriers with you, because I want you all to succeed. I want every single one of you to be successful. You have to be able to overcome fear. Fear is the number one thing that holds people back from succeeding in this business. Whether they feel like they have given up, and so why would people trust in them, or because they have this fear of rejection, or they have this fear of succeeding like I did. They're afraid of what people are going to think. There are more people out there that need their lives changed than they're going to worry about you and how, and what you're doing. If people unfriend you, unfollow you, so be it. There are more people out there that need you. Those people that are unfriending you and unfollowing you, it's probably because they do need this and they're in denial. So I want you to, number one, rip up your fears. Burn them. Get rid of them. Find a personal development book that is going to help you overcome those fears. I'll share that document in the team page so that you can get a book based on your fears. And then I want you to write down what your future self is, who your future self is, and what's holding you back, so we can find ways to overcome that. Does anyone have any questions for me? No? Okay. Well, good night. Thank you so much for jumping on, and I hope this really helped you. Good night, everyone.